Good morning, everybody. It's really a pleasure. It's a great pleasure. To welcome you in Oulu, and of course, also from remote position. Of our online participants. And this, is a thematic event, as Marit already mentioned. Is Soil-Water Nexus, advancing resilient ecosystem through living labs synergies. So I'm Andrea Rubini, I'm the Director of Operations of Water Europe, and on behalf of Water Europe, is on the top, I would like really to warmly thank ENOL, the European Network of Living Lab, as the coordinator of the soil startup projects, as well as Luke for your great support, really providing valuable support for the organization of this event, and all the partners and colleagues of the project and of my organization, Water Europe, who contribute to make the events possible today. Now, why we are here today? It is important, to set the scene. So this gathering is a part of the EU mission, A Soil Deal for Europe, which is the European mission, is guiding our joint efforts in order to protect and restore soil health in Europe and possibly beyond by leading by example. The mission provides us with quite a clear direction. The mission wants to establish 100 soil health living labs and lighthouses across Europe. This, in order to test, demonstrate, and scale up solutions that really matter for people, for the nature, for our society, and our economies. I would like just, to remind that a couple of months ago, the European Commission released, the new strategy on water resilience, in which the point is establishing a water smart economy and society. So this, applies. We can, let's say, not mention, water. We are really laying the foundation of a big support structure to empower this, growing network of living labs, offering what? Offering knowledge, offering tools, offering opportunity for collaboration between the different stakeholders of Europe and likely beyond Europe. And it's important to establish a dialogue. Most of the times, and it's also our experience at Water Europe, it's important that we foster a dialogue between the stakeholders, because many times knowledge is duplicated. Many times knowledge is not able to be scaled up because of lack of communication and dialogue between the practitioners and, of course, the policymakers. So this is an opportunity of today. We can exchange knowledge, we can exchange our experience, we can share perspective. And once again, thank you so much for being here today. So now we enter into the let's say the contents of today, and I will start with this presentation about the soil mission.
Can you that one to move from slide to slide?
So
does it work? Okay, now it works. Thanks so much.
And in the meantime, I would like to just say one thing to the people who are here, that the microphone is on the roof. So everything that we speak here is right there. So we hope to be silent when the presentation is.
So it means that it's also a big achievement in terms of technology, because it means that technology is really helping us, not to go out to run around with mics. Huh? So it's great. So everybody can contribute also to discussion easily. So Soil-Water Nexus, advancing resilient agroecosystem through living labs synergies.
Maybe now?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the agenda of today. We start with arrival registration, welcome coffee. We have the opening remarks, which is, what I'm doing now, introducing the mission soil and the startup project in a nutshell. Then we're going to have, the regional insight from a mission soil living lab and why soil health matters. Now, the water-oriented living lab model and its application in a Finnish soil context. Then we're going to have a coffee break a panel discussion on success stories with soil literacy, living labs and communities. Then we have funding opportunity for the mission soil living labs, closing remarks and next steps. Then we're going to have a light lunch, and then who is interested to a field visit to look is welcome to join us. So just an introduction why I'm here, because why water? Why we are partner? As Water Europe, we are partner of the Soil Startup Project. Why we support the EU mission on healthy soil? Because Water Europe is the promoter of research and innovation in water, in the water-related sector. So whatever is water, Water Europe is there. And of course, there is a very strong connection between healthy soil and healthy water. There is no healthy water without healthy soil and vice versa. So it's a connection, it's a nexus that we have been, repeatedly said. We need to work on a system, a systemic approach in which, in this particular case, water and soil are connected. Why, Water Europe? Because we is a multi-stakeholder association. We want to improve, the collaboration between the water and water-related sector stakeholders. And as you can see, our structure is made of 7 colleges that gathers the full chain of the water sector. And in this full chain of the water sector, many of our members are also soil-related or in that industry-related. So a water smart society and economy. As I said, from the water resilience strategy that will apply efficiency, while our action, is concentrated on the impact of climate and demographic change. And you can see that we have just centered the value of water, and around the value of water, we build, the 3 main objectives. The water resilience, the water security, and water sustainability. Once again, you can, for a while, hide, the water, and then you find that our society needs, whether we speak about soil, whether we speak about industry, whether we speak about water, whether we speak about any other challenge in our society, we need sustainability, security, and resilience. And around this, if you go back a bit to water, then we look that we need circular approach. Then we say circular water. We need, multiple approach to things. So we say we need to use multiple waters. And say digital water management, we need digital management at large in our society. And we need, good governance. Wherever we go, it's water, it's soil, it's whatever. We need good governance. And last but not least, we need that our infrastructures at large become resilient to what? To the climate change, to demographic change, to the different kind of challenges like a war or like, a large disaster. We never know. But our infrastructure requires attention in terms of improving their resilience. Why we go to living labs? With Enol, we have been also working together, keep on working together on promoting the concept of the living labs, and we apply this to the water sector, looking at the water smart society, by building up a network of water-oriented living labs, which are living labs as your real life demonstration implementation instruments that are able to bring together the 4 actors of the quadruple helix, and they can really build together joint structural grounds to develop, validate, and scale up innovation in real life environment. And last but not least, they can really embrace any kind of innovation, which is not only technology innovation, but governance, business. These are the 8 specific objectives of a soil deal for Europe from the European Union. And on the first one is reducing the desertification. The second is conserving and increasing the organic carbon stock. The third, stop sealing, soil sealing, increase the use of urban soils, which is quite important, particularly now in this period of time where climate change shows that cities are particularly sensible, to problems related to soil sealing. Reduce soil pollution and enhance restoration, and this is also very much important in terms of interconnection with the water sector. To prevent the erosion, which once again, it is a lot connected to the climate change. To improve the soil structure and enhance, the biodiversity of soil, and the soil and the implication and the impact, it will be difficult to have common consensus, common understanding, and also having people being actors of the change in our society. So we have 4 building blocks. You can see, the research innovation program, which it is, of course, in the mission dedicated to work on knowledge, new technologies, on infrastructures, practice, business for healthy soil. Then we have the living labs and the lighthouses, and this is quite an ambitious block of the mission, because it aims at building this comprehensive network of living labs in order to demonstrate, create, test, scale up solutions. The third block is about soil monitoring, and the fourth one is a soil literacy communication and the citizen engagement, which is always quite a sensitive issue, because when it comes to inclusive governance, then we see that the problem of including citizens in the process becomes not that easy. Now, key concept are the mission soil living labs. So in the mission, we have this key concept that brings up the concept of living lab experimental site and the lighthouses. So a living lab, in terms of scale, could be regional, sub-regional landscape. In terms of activities, there is the coordination and experimentation with the partners, and the performance in health improvement is in progress at the landscape scale. So it's really local. It's very local. Then we go to living lab experimentation site, which is much more local, because we have, one farm, one forest, one urban site. So it's really, you can really innovation, which includes and requires, the full participation of the local actors, and this is in progress on the site. Then the lighthouse. What is a lighthouse? Also here, but the point is that it is once again local, could be one forest, one city, or one farm. Once again, it goes to the experimentation and demonstration, but what is important that demonstrated high performance in terms of health improvement of the soil. So these are the direction in which the soil health living labs, works in terms of key concept. Then these are definition of the soil experimental sites in which a really individual, real-life physical space where co-creation process take place to improve soil health. When you go into the lighthouse, it really helps in the adoption of sustainable practice by inspiring a land user through practical tools. So this is really, leading by example. And leading by example is something that I remember since a long time. in European Union. That was, I mean, quite the motto of another important part. We want really to lead by example. Leading by example represents the best way to share the knowledge and to have this knowledge being visible from other stakeholders and potential users. Now, I mean, in terms of land use types, we also need, I mean, to remember that it is not only one land use. We have different kind of use of land. That could be the most common, it's the agriculture. Then we have the industrial, because then we have the urban, and then we have the forestry, and the natural, and the semi-natural. So the scenario is complex when we go, I mean, to what we mean in terms of improving the health of soil, because we can find ourselves in so many different situations. I'm going to present all of them because you can see that the first 45 mission soils living labs that have been included in the waves number 1, number 2 of the mission, but you can go, I mean, through this QR code and you can explore, I mean, all the full list of the living labs. There is no Finland. I know that you would have raised the question, but I mean, we can make efforts in order to have, I mean, also Finland here. But you can see that, I mean, they're scattered, I mean, across Europe. And I mean, we can see, I mean, a couple of them. For example, this is from region, from the Greek region, from Greece, is the North Aegean and the Lesbos Island. And this is, I mean, it's a land use types agriculture. It's fully agriculture. And there are mission-specific objectives, because it is also important to go really to the grassroots level to understand the challenges. Because here, if you look at the specific objectives, you can also read the challenges. So reduce land degradation related to desertification. It means that in these areas, desertification is a challenge. Conserve and increase soil organic carbon stocks. It means that it's not enough. And prevent erosion. So it means that the good part of the soil is being eroded by different kind of agents. And increase soil literacy in society across member states, which is an important achievement that must be done, because once again I say we cannot achieve important goals if we do not include citizens. We don't have the consensus and we don't have the understanding of the society in what is needed in order to protect our environment. As you can see, I mean, the overall challenge of this living lab is the soil degradation challenge due to hilly terrain, shallow soils, climate change, and the abandonment of traditional farming practice, which is quite important, not only headquarters was Kathmandu, Nepal. When I went there the first time was 1996. After a few months, a kind of civil war started taking place, I mean, in the country between the government and a Maoist faction. Now, independently from the reasons and the topics, the most affected people was the common population, because they were just pig in the middle between the army and the rebels. So what happened? That Nepal is a country made of hills, a flat area, hills and mountains. All these things, I mean, compressed in a very tiny country, because you go from 40 meters over the sea up to 8,000 on the Mount Everest in less than 200 kilometers. So you can imagine, I mean, how the hills in the middle of the country could be, I mean, quite packed up. with terraces. So you see that all these yields were continually maintained in order, to be productive and produce rice. After a couple of years, passing through the same place, you could see a disaster because people didn't go any longer to work. Because very poor state with landslide and so on. So the abandonment of traditional farming practices, even though it could be abandonment, full abandonment, like in that case, it could be abandonment for new practice that do not respect the nature of the soil. And then it is an additional disaster. So this is a description of the Aegean living lab. And basically aims to address the soil health issues, as I say, desertification and drought and organic matter loss during the use of nature-based solutions. Then, another one is in Poland. So we go from Southern Europe to Northern Europe. And it's still agriculture. We have the specific objective of this living lab is to conserve and increase soil organic carbon stock, reduce soil pollution and enhance restoration, improve the soil structure, and contributing to reduce the EU global footprint on soil and increase once again the soil literacy in society. This is a common action by the living labs. And as you can see, the challenge here is the imbalance of nutrients in the soil, the contamination of soil and the apples as well, and the decreasing of soil organic matter content in soils and the biodiversity, which is, a common problem in Europe wherever you go. So it is located, in the region of Poland. I would have difficulties in pronouncing, Polish places. So and the key strength, other expertise are the research, education and training, and the co-definition of market needs. So what is a soil startup? What is the offer of soil startup? So the soil startup is one part of three partnership agreements from 2024 to 2030. You can see that we are in the soil startup phase of the initiative that will continue with the soil step up from 2026 to 2027 and to the scale up in 2028 and 2030. What is the aim of soil? Aims to set up an effective, transitionally and open one-stop shop structure to coordinate the network of these 100 living labs in Europe and lighthouses. Funded under the soil still mission in order to have to lead the transition towards healthy soils. Now we are here, we are in this phase. So this is really the co-design and launch, is really the startup of this long-term initiative, and the promotion of these living labs and lighthouses in a participatory approach, and in order to have the first waves of living labs and healthy soil living labs and lighthouses and key stakeholder initiative being gathered together in the view of the step up and the scale up. So what the soil initiative provides. So this is a really comprehensive support framework. It's the empowering existing mission soil living labs, support and onboard future applicants, to be part of the network, foster a collaborative ecosystem in order to put together the living labs and the stakeholders and engage with the wider soil health community. I don't know if I'm going out of time.
There is one questions in chat.
Yes.
And it's relating to how to contact the specific living labs managers. So
Well,
what is the best way
in one of the slides, you could find there is a QR code in which you can access to all the living labs So then, I mean, through that living log, there is an atlas. So then, I mean, contact details will be found there. Just checking that I'm not going out of time. I'm going out of time. So I will be quick. So these are the target. The target are the mission soil. I mean, the 100 soil other lighthouses living labs. The European soil other living labs. I mean, there could be alignment to the mission soil, new applicants to the mission soil, and emerging soil living labs. So this is, I mean, a quick slide, I mean, on the focus, and you can see that basically there is, I mean, a focus on the concept and methodology on living labs, the principles, I mean, the life cycles, how should be governed, I mean, the stability and feasibility, the technical teams of the mission soil objectives, and the cross-cutting areas, I mean, of the soil. So what the soil offer, I mean, to soil health living labs: coordination and support, training and capacity building, engagement and promotion, monitoring, evaluation, knowledge sharing and networking, and the soil hub. This is also a quick, I mean, look at the engagement and promotion. And once again, I mean, whoever, I mean, from the audience can point at the QR code and to see what kind of event are being organized in order to support the engagement of stakeholders in the soil mission. And this is also, I mean, a quick view, but we can go deeper, I mean, during the discussion, I mean, about, I mean, the offer of the startup, the knowledge sharing and networking, the monitoring and the evaluation of the soil hub. And this is what soil offers to the applicants. So setup of soil living labs, facilitate the consortia creation, advice and support through, I mean, all these actions: engagement, guidelines, matchmaking, pitching, mentoring, trainings, and the help desk. These are, I mean, thematic engagement events that have been implemented, I mean, in recent times. So you can see, I mean, it's up to June 2025. Vision and objective of the mission: soil, empowering the communities of healthy soil, organic agriculture, and agroecology. So you see, I mean, it's quite a rich support. So these are funding opportunities, but this will be seen later on. And now, if I'm not wrong, we have, I mean, the regional insights from a mission soil living lab, why soil health matters. And we have a speaker online, which is Nargish Parvin. Nargish, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Missing one spots.
And
Yeah, that's all.
in the meanwhile, when we are waiting, we are aware that we have a bit Uh, So Nargish, are you there? Can you hear us? Are you ready to have your own presentation?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Just
Yes.
a little break because they will shut down and open again the audio system
Okay, so
for a while because this is needed to recover better voice.
okay, so in here we have had small problems with the audio or the sound, and we will have like a short few minutes break that we will restart the systems. So you should start speak in few minutes after we have restarted our systems.
So please stay online.
Stay online and you can start to share. And
Yeah, but maybe they cannot hear us.
yes.
But it's a very short break, so they are doing that exactly now.
It would be at 10 o'clock, but anyway, I was asked to share the experience of Swedish Soil Health Living Labs, which is one of the living labs of EU Mission Soil project called Ecoshells. Ecoshells is innovative co-creation soil health living lab. It started last year September and it will run for 4 years. And RISE is the leading organization of this and also coordinating the whole project. RISE is Research Institutes of Sweden, and one of the living labs is also leading by RISE. So today I will share the experiences so far we have in last 1 year with our living lab settings and all other experiences. So at first we can begin with some project description. What is Ecoshell? How it includes other living labs. So we have 6 living labs across Europe, from northern to southern Europe, and this living lab serves as a real world setting ground for innovative soil solution. And we are focusing on mainly mission soil objective number 4 and 6, while also consider objective number 2 and 8. As you can see, the objective number 4 is reduce soil pollution and enhance restoration and improve soil structure to enhance soil habitat quality for soil for healthy crops. So in our living lab, we have through collaborative efforts. The goal is to develop, test and validate potential solutions, mainly nature-based solution, to ensure their scalability beyond the immediate region. Here we have 6 living labs for different land uses. You can see the Basque Soil Living Lab in Spain has in peri-urban settings. Greek Mine Soil Living Lab, it's a post-industrial site, and Southeastern Spain Living Lab focusing on agriculture. Bulgarian Viticulture Soil Health Living Lab, and then Italian Soil Health Living Lab, both are agricultural focus, and Swedish Soil Health Living Lab is also focusing on agricultural soil. There is a news, so there will be open call for new solutions to be considered for implementation in our living lab coming in September. So you can check it out on our website. So for the Swedish Soil Health Living Lab, how we can describe our living lab. So we focused on national soil health challenges, which is soil compaction, poor soil structure in some places, loss of soil biodiversity, depletion of soil organic matter, nutrient imbalances, especially surplus of nutrient and subsequent pollution have also been identified in some of the areas, but not yet identified in our own living lab sites. So solution to be implemented are an iterative process and will be determined in a co-creation approach, which is the basic of Mission Soil Living Lab objectives. But we have identified some potential solutions which will be finalized by the baseline analysis. So potential solution could be optimum cover crop, crop rotation, conservation tillage method, substitution of mineral fertilizers with bio-based products, mainly biochar and some recycled gypsum that we thought of, but not decided yet. In some places, we need controlled drainage system. And also we are thinking of enhanced manure management and use of lightweight solar powered vehicles to have a controlled traffic in agricultural field so that we can avoid further compaction in the soil. Additionally, a cooperative approach between animal farms and crop production farms will also be established to enhance the efficient use of manure and its potential uses to improve soil quality. So in Swedish Living Lab, we have 14 sites in total. You can see they are scattered quite a bit around the countries from mid to south part of the country. And we have some potential lighthouses that has been serving as a living lab for a quite long time already. And you can see in the right side the main partners involved in the Swedish Living Lab, but we have also other associated, other in-kind partners and authorities. Some of the partners of Swedish Living Lab have extensive previous experiences with the establishment of successful national living labs, and we used quite a lot of the existing networks. Currently, we are focusing on baseline sampling mainly, but we have done 2 co-creation sessions. One was online and other two were at national agricultural fairs at 2 different areas. One is in mid of the country, another one is the south part of the country, where our sites are mainly located. So we have identified the main problems. You can see in the right side, it's in Swedish, but the main problems are, the biggest problem is the soil compaction, water holding capacity, drainage, and many other things. So baseline sampling, as I said, it's ongoing and it will be completed hopefully by end of this month, depending on the weathers and availability of the farmers. Some farmers already proposed some solutions for next year that needs to be revised and finalized soon. And also the decision has to come after we have all results from soil analysis from the baseline results of the sites. So I would like to share some of the experiences that we had from online meeting. First, we had a meeting by Mural, and it worked well to visualize the common and diverse challenges of the farm. Some participants worked very actively and adding suggestions for solutions. Some has explained what they have already tested in their field, what was the reflection, and what they would like to test next time. Some participants, some farmers attended by mobile, which made it impossible to contribute to the tool. It's because they are not as usual desktop setting. They were in the field, in the tractor, and it could not focus too much on contributing to the written and verbal input to the topic on challenges and solutions, etc. So if we organize an online meeting, we have to think about they have a different settings in their everyday work life. And one of our partners also got stressed by seeing so many cursors moving around Mural. So it was not a good choice for everyone. Online meeting was necessary because farmers were in the middle of the spring and not everyone was available for in-person meeting. But before I come to the stakeholder engagement, the second co-creation was second co-creations meeting workshops at 2 different fairs were quite good. We met in person, we visited the fair, we saw many different advanced technologies and solutions to be implemented in the field, so it worked well. And there was some insight for future stakeholder engagement also. It is important that farmers feel that their time is well spent in the workshops. We try to work with the possibility of both speaking and writing to overcome the shyness and achieve a good level of participation. It worked well. There were some technical issues that limited the discussion between the farmers. That was the online setting, and in future, I think it would be beneficial to divide the group into subgroups for more in-depth discussion among the farmers, because different site has different focus and different challenges. I would like to share our experiences, the reflection, and for the future. I mean, in future, if someone needs to set a living lab, I think these 4 points needs to be checked. Would be nice to implement. For example, for a successful living lab, we should have some engaged farmers. So it's very important that we identify and involve farmers who are actively engaged in their agricultural practices and have a strong intention to improve their soil health, which is quite good for Swedish living lab, because all of our farmers were really interested to improve their soil and not to degrade at all. So it was quite good condition for our living lab settings. As I said earlier, like we used quite an existing network, so it's really easier if you use existing networks and association. It facilitates the connection and collaboration between the partners. And one thing is very important is the proximity of sites. It was the first set of living labs funded by the European Union, funded by the Mission Soil. It was not quite clear to us that the site has to be quite close to each other for better collaboration and communication. As you saw in the map, that our sites are quite scattered. So logistically, it's not quite good. So selecting sites that are near to each other or in one region will help in optimize logistic, for example, for sampling, for communication, for meeting in person, all those things. However, it's equally important to ensure that these locations reflect the diversity of soil properties, agricultural practices with the region, and that will ensure that the findings are broadly applicable in future and relevant. For a successful co-creation, which is the heart of Living Lab, having some successful co-creation meetings, it's quite important to have both open and tailored communication based on the needs to engage different stakeholders in the co-creation meeting. Sharing the goals with participants beforehand is also important, so that they come prepared with the relevant ideas and insights. So to have a pre-co-creation communication is also very important to have a successful co-creation, either online or in person. Yeah, with that, I would like to thank you for listening. And if you have any question, you can ask or you can write to us. It's you can see our email addresses here.
So thank you for your presentation.
And remain online for the panel. She is going to stay online for the panel.
Yeah, so please stay online, because then there will be this panel discussion later. And
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we still have here these sound issues, and when we have the coffee break, we try to solve it again. But now we continue in the presentation. Yeah, do you want to, if you put my presentation there, do you want to say some few words about the wall model before I present the?
Yes, why not? I mean,
Okay.
just a few words about, the water and lead up model that, in practice, we have seen before, during the introduction of the gathering of the event. And, but it might be worth, to mention the matter that, and many thanks once again, Nagish, for your contribution. By the way, Rice is also an important member of Water Europe. Thank you so much also for that. And well, we came out with the concept of water and living labs, quite a few number of years ago. And that was also in the view of the matter that there would have been in the horizon the opportunity of doing something concrete for supporting and addressing water challenges at local level, at territorial level. And so we started working on modeling water-oriented living labs. So living labs really oriented for water challenges. Of course, without neglecting, what is around, and inside water, this, the full spirit of addressing, the largest nexus possible in with the difference, from territory to territory. So we started working also based on the work of Enol, on making a new approach for living labs oriented on water, and we started in 2018. Publishing the first publication on the first atlas of water and living labs, and then the time arrived. To work on something much larger, wider, which is the European Partnership Water for All, which gathers 36 countries with 90 partners, in which Water Europe leads the pillar D, which is the demonstration of innovation through water-oriented living labs. And we have 36 partners in this initiative. It lasts for 10 years, from 2022, when we started, from 2030. Provided, quite a big contribution. In fact, today we are going to the field visit and visiting, the rookie water-oriented living lab. And so, we built this environment in which living labs have a dialogue, living labs can speak together, can enlarge their perspective. It's open to any kind of collaboration with any other stakeholder. The local challenges, including water. So now, in the framework of this network, we have the example from Finland, a bright example. There are quite a few number of living labs, water-oriented living labs in the network. And well, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for organizing this event and for bringing your contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, I'm introducing the living lab, what we have in Ruukki, and so it's located in experimental station of Ruukki, but the living lab is named Water Management Innovation. And if you think the living lab, so you need to have this real life context. So this is ours. We are located 60 kilometers south from Oulu, and it's an agricultural experimental station. And if you think the idea of living lab, this was established 1925, so we are celebrating 100 years. So if you think the living lab, then we have been there a long time. And then if you think the history of Ruukki, 100 years ago, it was established to be a model farm in Finland. So kind of like the idea of living lab also, that it's like the example for the farmers. And we have about 90 hectares of fields. And if you think that we are today talking about water and soil, so we have 90 hectares of fields with different soil types. And here you can see that where we are. So Ruukki is they're like close to the Baltic Sea shoreline. In Finland, we say northern part of Finland, but then if you actually look the map, then we are not even close to Lapland. But if you look the map in Finland, then we are so north that it's difficult to cultivate something that people actually are eating. So we are an experimental station where we have this big barn for beef production, and then the grass cultivation is the main thing. Grass and cereals for the animals. And then we are also, when we are in this sea shoreline, then we are in the area of acid sulfate soil. So this has been thousands of years ago under the sea. So that's why we have these acid sulfate soils. And then if you look the European map, we are so north in Europe, then we have also these organic soils. So in the area of Oulu and Ruukki, about 30% of the fields are organic soils, and they are also like a big issue. If you think about the soil and water research, then what are the main problems that we try to solve? And in Ruukki, we have established all kind of facilities that how we do this research. And this is like when we were applying to this wall, then this was kind of the core in this application, that we have all kind of water management research. But then basically, if you think that we have organic soils and then we have acid sulfate soils, then the solution for that is the water. So the problems with the soil we try to solve with the water. And then in Ruukki, we have these 3 different facilities or platforms, however you want to call them. Norpeat is a long-term platform on cultivated peatland. The Normi is also a long-term platform on mineral soil. And then this Rahkasuo is a platform that we are currently building. And that will be a short-term platform on mull soil. And mull soil, if you don't know what it means, it's a soil type between peat and mineral soil. So organic matter content is between 20 and 40. So the aim is that we have these different platforms on different soil types, long-term, short-term, and then you can have different angles in your research, depending that if you want to do some piloting or if you want to have these really long-term data sets to study, for example, climate change or whatever. And then these are kind of like intensive fields or platforms that we are trying to open also to outside users. And then, of course, we have these other fields also. And then I wanted to show you this, because then when we were applying to be part of the WOL, these were these kind of the questions that we had to answer, that how our living lab is working. And for example, if you think this user involvement, it's really easy in Ruukki because we have been there 100 years ago. So we have really strong and wide stakeholder cooperation in northern part of Finland, but also in Finland in general. And it involves research, policymakers, different schools, universities, advisory organizations, and ministries, all kind of like, because the aim in Ruukki is to form data that is helping to make decisions, for example, in ministries. So this user involvement is easy, and we have also really good connections with the farmers in the area. Then infrastructure, in the previous slide I was showing that we have really invested and developed the infrastructure, the platforms itself, but also all kind of devices and methods and greenhouse gases and leaching, sensors and all kind of things, because the idea for us is that to be able to open it for outside users, then we have to have certain kind of background data for the outside users. And then also that then it's easy to come to Ruukki when we can say that, for example, the 8 years before this, the soil temperature has been this, or nitrate concentrations have been like that. So it has been the idea to kind of build it so that then it's easy to come to make cooperation to Ruukki. Then this innovative outcome, especially in this water management, we have really good cooperation with Finnish Meteorological Institute, University of Oulu, and other research institutions, that we really try to have these innovative solutions how to solve this problem with the organic soils especially. But also this, if you think that there has been these drought periods in southern part of Europe, really high temperatures. If that is coming to Finland also, then we are kind of preparing for that. We try to have these solutions that are cheap enough for the farmers, because otherwise they will not use them. Then the service creation, like I was saying, that we try to open our platforms and fields to outside users. So then we have to have like a system that and protocols that it's easy for other people to come to Ruukki to make research there. Then the governance, basically that if we have been there already 100 years, how we can be there the next 100 years, how the base funding is coming and how we keep it the fields ongoing, how there is no gaps in the data. It requires money. So, and then you have to have this kind of structure in that sense also, that it's kind of who is responsible of that and who makes sure that the Opus data is coming and making sure that the data is okay. It has to be really thought that before you can open your fields to outside users. And then the methods and tools, that's what we have been investing also a lot, that we try to have like modern, up-to-date methods how we measure, and not like that we measure always in the same way or same devices, that we are kind of looking what is there coming and what kind of investment plans we should have to try new things, how we can save money, that there is no need to be our research assistants in the field all the time. Can we have sensors like instead of people? Or and nowadays, because for example, if you want to get researchers to your station, every time they first ask that how you measure, with what devices, and how you handle the data, how open your data is. So that's kind of like key issues also in Ruukki also. And we really try in Ruukki to be open. The first thing are of course the farmers, because those are the actual end users. Whatever we do, it has to be reasonable for the farmer. When we say that this would be wise thing to, for example, change in your cultivation practices, it has to make sense for the farmer also, and it cannot be too expensive. But then to make the Ruukki going the next 100 years, we have to be open also in the science, and then to have the base funding working properly, then you need to have like enough the angles in your research so that you can be not like around by one question, but you may have 10 questions that you are studying and offering the use. And that's why we have been now, we are part of this benchmarks project, because for example, Andrea has been now talking a lot about the soil health. So in benchmarks, we are one of the case studies in Europe, and our kind of why we are there is that we are representing the really northern part of Europe. We have these organic soils and we have acid sulfate soils, and it's actually for us really important to be there because our soils are really different than, for example, in Spain. And then one of the platforms for in Ruukki is part of this ANA-EE. So through that we are already open internationally. And then ANA-EE was like a first step. And after that came this other transnational access. And there we have been also trying to be like multidisciplinary. So for example, Microbes for Climate is about microbes and soil. Then iRisk is about climate change risks. And then Agroservice and ANA-EE are like agriculture in general. But that's important for us also, that whatever we do, it's open and we can compare our methods to other users in Europe. And basically, if you want to have more information from us, this is the website in this Water Europe or Water Oriented Living Labs website, where our living lab is also. You can watch the video from Ruukki there. And then this is basically our motto, or like what we do, that if you look Ruukki from the map compared to any other places, for example in Vol, this is what we do. So we are not in Arctic area as such, but then if you come to Ruukki on winter time, then you really understand that it's agriculture and Arctic attitude. So everything is so different because the growing season is short. Then we have the winter, but then that's changing all the time now. That, for example, last winter we had like few centimeters of snow. That's so rare in Finland. And when we have these water management studies in Ruukki, then it's like a new thing for us also, that if we are kind of assuming that we get the snow melt water, but then in sudden we have just few centimeters of snow, but there is no melt water at all. So it's actually a really cool place to study many things in water and in soil. So that's in short Ruukki, and I think we are quite well in time also.
Many thanks, Matt, because I mean, this is a clear example on how a living lab can be established and run. And with a full consideration of the challenges also of its governance. And I guess, I mean, an increasing, difficult situation with the climate change, because I mean, you say that we had just a little snow in the past winter, it means that also water that has been made by the soil that will be is not enough, maybe, I mean, to recover what has been taken by the layers groundwater. I have a question. Because you have seen also from the presentation of different kind of interaction with the stakeholder. In your opinion, I mean, coming from your experience, what has been the most successful and the most difficult situation that you had across, I mean, the past years, dealing with the stakeholders or the actors of the living lab and Ruukki?
I think the most difficult thing has been that because we are in the area of organic soils, and it's super difficult political thing in Finland. And there has been really like harsh discussions with the farmers, especially because there has been this long ongoing discussion in Finland that can you cultivate the peatlands or not? And if you cannot, the difficult thing is that if you look the Finnish map, if you go to Helsinki area, there are no organic cultivated peatlands at all. It doesn't bother those farmers at all. But then if you come to this area, then we have those a lot. And it's like regionally really kind of unfair situation. And it's really difficult to find a solution that you can solve it fairly for the farmers who are here. But then you think those farmers who don't have those at all. And they don't have to think it all. And because we are in the area of really intensive dairy and beef production. So the biggest farms are here, and those are also having the organic soils. And then it's also the endless discussion that do we eat meat? And then the war with Russia and Ukraine, that has been difficult also, because then we have had this discussion of food security. And for example, the number of farms in Finland is like really drastically decreasing. So then we should have this kind of like a motivation for them that we are believing in the agriculture. We can find the solution for the organic soils that is fair and not too expensive. Those has been, I think, the most difficult discussion with the stakeholders.
And the most successful one?
Well, I think we are really appreciated in the area. So I think it's really important for Northern Finland that we have this Ruukki here, because in Luke we have Jokioinen, southern part of Finland, we have Maaninka in the eastern part of Finland, and then Ruukki is the northern part of Finland. And I feel that because our aim has been that whatever we do, it has to make sense for the area.
True.
And that has been like, we have appreciated a lot for that we are kind of close with the farmers also. and that we are not studying something that is not relevant at all. So
So I can say that you're being able to lay down the most important brick, which is trust.
Yeah.
And collaboration.
exactly, because I can say that we have been here 100 years, but we can thank the people in the area that they have saved us also, because they have said that Ruukki has to be there also in the future, and it's not possible that just by us. We need also the stakeholders in the area.
And Marit, maybe you can tell practically how you work. You have those päivä and how many participants you had last week. Event. So maybe these are success stories.
Yeah, so special thing in Ruukki is that we have had this research station day decades. Every single year on August, we have this research station day. It's open to everyone. And for example, last week when we had this research station day and we were celebrating 100 years, there was almost 200 people at our station. And then we have last 5 years, we have had also this pellonpienarpäivä, so field day. Every May, when the snow is melting and the flow is like most active, when we have also this field day. And then the people in the area know that we have these things. Then now new thing has been also that we have this webinar series on each November, March, December, because we have so many projects that then we have this webinar series where we each year tell that what is ongoing, what kind of results we have got. And that's kind of our way to keep open to the local people also.
Yes, if you have a question, if anybody has a question, I'm very much welcome.
First time heard about it, but it's quite interesting to hear that it's for 100 years, and it can be like a lighthouse among living labs. How they can be for such long term to be operating without any interruptions. So maybe you could just also explain how it is governed, like it belongs to the municipality or to university or to the local, how it's then was transferred maybe to other organizations, so to be consistent.
Well, I think the advantage is that we are Luke. So Luke is kind of the only organization in Finland who actually has these agricultural research stations. And it's the same thing for all organizations that they are trying to save money. So it is a really hard work for people at Luke or Ruukki that we apply. We apply all the time and we try to be creative and find new angles to this research. And then so that then the base funding is there all the time. And then there is a help of the Siikajoki County who kind of partly owns, for example, the barn. So it's important for them that we are there. And that's how you kind of keep on going. And then for Luke, it's really important to have these long-term stations.
So there is no support from the government?
Well, of course, we have the ministries, for example. For example, a few years ago, ministry gave us over €1 million just to improve our infra. So,
and the land is owned by the people?
Well, that's difficult. It's like this Finnish system that who owns what. Basically, everything is owned by government, but there are 1 million different kind of organizations, Senaatti and those kind of things. So we are not owning anything. We are renting.
Paying the rent?
Yes.
Oh.
So it's like that.
So what is about the other living labs in Europe? Are they owned by universities?
That's a very good question, because the point is this is also the strength and the weakness of creating living labs. I mean, across Europe, not only across Europe. Europe is characterized by so many different situations, in which if you look at the network of the water and living labs, or the network, I mean, of the soil living labs, I mean, within the startup project, we see that they are different. I mean, the different settings, different political orientation, different kind of support, I mean, from the policymakers, different kind of involvement of the stakeholders, from agriculture, for farmers, I mean, to industry, to business at large, and academia. And then you see that sometimes, I mean, there is no ownership, let's say, no limited ownership of the living lab, or there is a full ownership of the local actors. And then it depends a lot on the nature of the living lab, because urban water retailing labs or living labs at large usually see the municipality as the main actor, or let's say the owner or the manager or the, I don't know, I mean, the main stakeholder. When you go, I mean, to rural areas, that's, I mean, things might change a lot, and they really change a lot. As well as we have other examples of living labs with business industries that are collaboration, but there is, I mean, the great support of the academia for new innovative solutions, full support from the policymakers in terms of adjusting, I mean, legislation when it's needed. And but then, I mean, the scenarios change a lot from case to case.
But you can basically say that when you have this living lab in Ruukki, owned by Luke, then the risk for establishing a living lab is small compared to many other things. But I think we have now coffee break.
Yeah, we have a coffee break.
And we continue at 11. Yes.
At 11, we may take 10 minutes more, because it's 8 to 11. Let's say that we can reconnect at 11:15. It's okay for you?
Or 11:10.
Or 11.
11:10. If you
11:10,
continue then.
that's fine. Okay.
Yeah. So 11:10 we come back.
We get
Yep.
back again.
Yep.
Okay. Stay online and don't go.
Yes, stay online, don't go anywhere.
In next we have. Okay, I'm Anna-Kaisa Ronkanen, coming from Finnish Environment Institute, and I'm happy to moderate or host this panel discussion about the success stories, soil literacy in living labs and communities, and our great presenters are here in our panel, and so on, and feel free to also to raise the questions and ask questions in chat and also here in the room. I have prepared some of the questions to our panelists, and a little bit about the cross-sector collaboration and trust building things, demonstrated impact, and then policy align and regulatory innovation, and then a little bit like a future potential and looking ahead. So these are like my discussion topic, and I think we have 40 minutes or something like that.
If you want to stay, I mean, on schedule.
I think 40 minutes is
Yeah.
or 30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so but first of all, I want to thank you for a great presentation. It was very nice to see also like based on the living lab context and how the water can connect also or promote this soil mission things, and also this how we need this cross-sectoral communication and collaboration through the living labs to solve those challenging situation that we are facing, especially nowadays during the climate change and this extreme condition. But first, I would like to start questioning Maarit from Luke and about your work with the farmers, and this that you have this 100 years experience there in the in the area. So somehow you are representing this, but how did you build the trust with farmers and then also the other actors in your living lab? And I mean now, like in very like practically.
Well, like in really practical, I try, and we at Ruki also in general, but especially I try to be really open for all these requests, because there are all kind of occasions in regional, all kind of farm occasions, field days, and then they are inviting Luke, that they want somebody from Luke to represent there, because Luke is like the most important institute in Finland to make this agricultural research. And I try to be open that when they ask that could you come here to say something about Ruki, I go. And no matter if it's weekday or weekend, I go there. And because I feel that it's important that the farmer can just come straight to me. If they have something in their mind that could we study, for example, this, or that they have been reading what we do, they have seen the results, and then they have opinions a lot. So I feel that this kind of face-to-face discussions with them, that we are willing to listen, and we are willing to consider the ideas what they have, because that's the kind of the way that they feel that whatever we do, it has a meaning. But then of course we have to kind of also think that we are a research institute, so we cannot do everything what the farmers say. We just have to kind of think how to integrate those things. And I feel that part of the thing that you have to trust is that 60% of the discussions is totally something else than research. We can talk about ice hockey or whatever, but it's kind of the idea for the farmer also that I am not in hurry, and I can discuss this and that, and like a normal people. So that's kind of the way, just to be open and willing to listen.
Thanks, Marit. And a little bit like a similar questions also, Nargis, to you. So you represented that in your presentation you told this approach that you're working with the different farmers, the animal farmers, and then those like crop farmers, and working with this like nutrient issues, so how to use the manure from animal farmers and so on. So actually I found this very like interesting, and it's like a very like important topic when we consider nutrient balancing things within the region. So could you like a little bit like tell how you have like a work and build the trust with your
so to build the trust, as I said, we used the existing network. So the Association of Farmer has already a leader there whom they trust. So we have that association in our living lab as a partner. So somehow some sort of trust is already there, but we we approve that we will help financially from our financial support to third parties funding to the farmer to the identified to be implemented solution. And as I said, it's quite important to have, I think you have also mentioned the speaker earlier.
Marit,
She has also mentioned that discussing informally is also quite important to build the relation with the farmer. It's very important that we discuss also informally and not straightly to the research questions, so that they get some kind of connection with us. So if you use the existing network, I think they feel quite okay in the living lab.
Nie, zupełnie.
Someone has a question or?
Tak,
Arturo?
witam.
Microphone open, so can you close it? Yeah, I think that is,
Also, we have some authorities, national protection agencies, and some other farming authorities in our living lab board. So they feel it's quite okay being with us. the trust, I think, is quite at good level.
Have you found the challenging to find the trust between different sectors, and how you have then deal with do you have a joint event where you have those different sectors involved, or some kind of a bilateral
Yeah,
communication, or how you...
exactly. The co-creation meeting is meant to be a meeting with all partners together. Authorities, research institute, even students were invited, farmers, and then extension services. So the co-creation meeting was together with all kind of possible entities. So they feel it's quite okay being there. And previously we spoke quite many times with our farmers by phone or by field visit to some of them. So they already know about how we will discuss in the co-creation meeting. So to remove the shyness, because they have not seen many different extension services that we invited in the meeting. So we informed them who would be there, what kind of questions would be discussed. Don't feel shy, just speak and explain your problem, explain what you need to implement in your field, what you think logical, all those things. So our farmers are quite okay in our living lab with other actors involved.
Thanks,
Challenges, no, we haven't seen any challenges, such challenges there.
Thanks. Let's move on and look at this impact topic then. So I would like to ask from Andrea that how you see positive results from these living labs in the European level, and yeah, so
Positive results. Well, I mean, the first positive results is the matter that we have been able to recognize living labs. I mean, that's, the first important positive result, because it's not because, we want to give a label. It's not a matter of labeling. It's a matter of recognizing the efforts of a territory in organizing their own resources from different stakeholders.
I think we lost the sound again.
We forget that we should first understand the challenge, and then we can find a way to address them. And this, the first positive results of living labs in Europe, the ones which we have experienced, they are in the network, the newcomers and whatsoever, is the matter that the first step has been taken. So identifying the challenge. The second step has been taken as well. So having a common understanding on how to address the challenge. And the third step, as a positive result, it is having enough mutual trust to say, well, we have a bundle of resources to address the challenges, or we don't have enough resources and we need additional ones. But the intention, the commitment is to address the challenges. So positive results, even though it's in uneven way across Europe, can be seen in most of the living labs, because they achieved new situations for which for instance, in urban, or let's say urban and peri-urban environment, is the city of Mechelen in Belgium. It took something like 25 years for them. The urban area in a sponge city, and able to reconstruct the wetlands and to support water management for agricultural needs. So there's a clear example, leading example on how city and rural environment can work together in order, to address, the different but mutual challenges, because you cannot address, the challenge of the city without looking at what's around the city and vice versa. And but it took 25 years. So water-oriented living lab, it is not something that we say in a snapshot, we do this and that, because we cannot. It is much longer than a project. A project might be an integral part of a living lab life and actions, but living labs requires, to achieve transformative change needs time, political commitment, financial resource commitment, and inclusive governance, which means the participation of all the stakeholders and on top citizens, the civil society at large.
Yeah.
But the results are visible.
Yeah, and there are also like explain those how those are working, or do you have some examples how you could describe to our audience that
Well,
how these really then work?
there are two important levels of interaction between living labs, which are local real life environment, and the European Union at large. I see this from, let's say, the financial resources point of view, and from the point of view of policy making and policy development. Starting with policy development, I would say that living but at the same time, living labs organized in a network, organized, in a power position, can really have an influence on policy development, because then you get real information and real experience from the grassroots level, and having, one voice can help, in influencing, in lobbying for better legislation at the European Union level that goes back, to the member states and then the territories. At the same time, living labs represent a unique opportunity for we have the structural funds, we have the social funds with a lot of different kind of funding programs. But then while I think that we are very much clever and knowledgeable, about research and innovation funds like Horizon Europe and other kinds of funds organized at central level in Brussels. Then our knowledge is limited in terms of what has been done and what is possible to get in terms of financing at the local level. Because this is a matter that concerns, the districts, the regions, the sub-regions, the cities, nationwide. So Living Labs is also an excellent combination of knowledge in which the Living Lab can have a look of what is available from the European Union and what is available at the local level. And that combination of funds, of resources at large is much easier. So this is also an advantage of working with Living Labs, considering, I mean, the local needs, but with a perspective, I mean, to the European Union opportunities.
Yeah, and I think currently those Horizon Europe calls which are open, there are quite many like calls focusing on the living labs.
To keywords like living labs, because it's like, I mean, it's my experience of water. If you look at Horizon Europe and you look at calls for proposal, that could be I mean, interesting for the water sector, and they use water as, I mean, for searching as a keyword, you will find very, very few results. Then on the other way around, we should look at more systemic approach, and that's the reason for which living labs can really be helpful in having a systemic approach in organizing and finding, I mean, a combination of efficient source of funding from national to European Union ones, national to local to national to European Union.
Thanks. Yeah, so is there any questions in the chat? Yeah, or Mika, just.
I'm not sure if this is a question, but maybe, let's see. I'm thinking about the end product, like what will happen, like eventually everything goes well, everything works, like, so because like in these days, like with the Nexus, like in the living labs, like we can bring sorts of different experts together and think about what we can do and what we should do. But in the end, like should the farmer, because farmer can make lots of decisions about the soil and they have their own business, like in the end, are the farmers do the farmer needs to be expert on hydrology, water management, soil health and agriculture, or is it more, is the success more like in the end farmer just knows like what is good for
are not like in their own bubble, but then there is this constant discussion with the farmer, like that we have research, what we do, for example, in the experimental station, we do it in field scale, but we are not farm, like actual farm. So we need also kind of the opinion from the farmer, because then, like you said, that it's business for them, we can take risks. So it's different in that sense, and that's why, so that we can have these solutions that are useful for the farmers, we have to have this open discussion all the time. Also 100 years from here. I don't know if that answers to your question.
Because challenge never ends. I mean, that's we. (2025), so it's 26 years, let's say 25, a bit, a bundle, I mean, of months more. There are 8 billion people. And these 8 billion people and the quality of demand. So then in the end, if you look at increasing pressure on soil because of food production, I mean, there is a reason. And the reason is quantitative and qualitative. On the one hand, we want better food. On the other hand, we need more food. So what happens is that the challenge is endless. So every time we need to find, I mean, a solution for the current challenge. Which, I mean, to the Water Nexus in a short time. So I think that's we will never be, I mean, in a position to say, oh, it's done. No, it won't be so.
Or we invent something and after 20 years we discover that, oh my God, it was bad. And then these problems just pop up.
Like the PFAS.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a question.
I just wanted to say that the success of Living Labs is that it is a kind of concentration of enthusiasts and also like motivated people who are working on the same goals. That's a good thing of a Living Lab, that it's most of the projects will be successful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like a guarantee for success.
Yeah, motivation, working together. And
Sometimes you don't need the grant, you don't need the money, you just need the motivation, the people who would like to work together.
Yeah, and solve the problem
Collaborate,
challenge. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Then I would like to ask Marit a little bit like I told during her presentation about this climate impact of cultivated peatlands and
Sorry, are you referring to me? I can't hear your questions. I just heard peatland, something like that. Could you please ask again?
So my question is, have you faced conflicts between local needs and national or EU level needs or requirements? Or
Yeah, exactly. Not a conflict, but Swedish researchers are critically involved in the EU soil monitoring law, which is a upcoming law, and there they have a discussion to revise the soil indicators that suit Swedish soil, especially the clay soil. It's because there are some background chemical component in Swedish soil, so it's necessary to revise the threshold in the indicator to avoid misclassification of healthy soil. And it has been also highlighted in the news, like for example, organic content of clay soil and also some heavy metal background heavy metal content in clay soil. So natural background level of chemical that affects the indicator, if adjustment are not made, then there is a risk that soils with good status will be classified as unhealthy. So flexible measure than the directive proposed, one out, all out, such type of things for indicators is needed to work for different types of soil, which has been discussed nationally. But yeah, I would not say it's a conflict, but it's just to revise the indicators level for different soil types, especially for Swedish clay soil. I can't hear you again. The sound is getting off time to time.
yeah, we are happy that we can hear now.
Okay.
Now you. Okay. Thanks. Help. So then one other questions is related to then this mission soil, and how has the mission soil help local actors understand and influence a policy? So do you have any that kind of like experience that you could like really like point it?
The mission is very ambitious.
It's
Let's
up
be-
to you how do you want to define it?
Let's be honest. I mean, the mission.
Yeah.
I mean, each and every mission in Rise of Europe is very. On the moon, in 2 years. Oh, that was wow, I mean, in the 60s. But without ambitions, we go nowhere at the same time. And I think that we got achievements. Just the matter that we've been able to establish. I mean, in the first 2 waves, I mean, this network of soil living labs, and the matter that there is, I mean, quite a big organization behind supporting them, I mean, in improving, basically establishing the dialogue. Because while, I mean, on the one hand, I mean, we suffer from the matter that there's a lot of fragmentation in fundings, I mean, financial resources and so on. But it's also true that we suffer, there is, I mean, we are affected, I mean, when we say we, I mean, the European Union at large, affected by the fragmentation of the dialogue between the stakeholders. Because then we tend, I mean, to communicate, not to scale up or not to, I mean, to use the experience of other successful or failures. You know what I mean? We need to look at both scenarios, successes and failures. And I think that is already a very big result from the soil mission and the soil and the startup project as well.
Thanks, Andrea. So, okay, yeah, and those like establishing 100 living labs, it's part of this. This is the mission, and we are on the way to that. But yeah, so then if we have now like two living lab representatives here, and this local perspective. But then when we are talking about like a European level living lab network and yeah, so what is needed to take this good solution that Maarit and Nargis have also told, and you have also shared with us. So this to take this good solution from one place to use them across the Europe. So really like scale them. So what is really needed? So there are now like very much like a talking and dreaming, yeah. So to find the like synergies and share experience and tools, but what we still need really to go to that level.
I will transfer the question, I mean, to the living labs, to the two.
I could say that, for example, now that we have been part of these benchmarks, it has been really interesting, like locally also, because so far, for example, the farmers and local people, they kind of have an idea that when Luke research will come to speak, we talk about greenhouse gases and leaching, and it's always the same. But then I felt that we had these workshops in benchmarks, for example, and I felt that farmers, for example, were really interested in, because we were talking about soil health. If you talk about that with Finnish people, they usually always say that there is nothing wrong in Finnish soil. We can say many other European countries that have a lot of problems. But then it's so it comes through this keeping organic. Basic things. And then they, at least in Finland, they are really interested. We had this rookie, and they are really interested to see the results from these other 28 places. That how we, because Finland always wants to know that how we compete with the others. Are we better or worse? So it's kind of like easy way to kind of visualize that how bad or good our soil is in Europe. it's like, I think it's really good thing, because now we have opportunity to have experiments that are really interested by the farmers.
So you mean to? No, we'll.
Well, we try, for example, in Ruukki that we try to have these interviews in Finnish, these newspapers and kind of like the papers that the farmers are reading, and then we try to use social media, and we try to organize these workshops and these kind of things that where we then tell.
Nargis, do you want to add something? Do you have a experience or idea, opinion? What is needed to take this good solution from your living labs?
Yeah,
Use them across Europe. I think you had also a project where you have like living labs across the Europe. So how you are then like
yeah, exactly.
scaling the solutions?
I mean, we started with the living lab, right? And the aim is to improve the soil and to disseminate the knowledge how we improved the soil. But you know, soil, I mean, all of us, we know that it takes quite a lot of time to improve from one step to another step of soil health condition. So if we have aim to have healthy soils by 2050, we should have also longer term support from EU to improve the soil. If we just finish by the project, then how can we disseminate or how can we continue improving the soil? It takes 8 to 10 years minimum to see some changes in soil physical properties. So yeah, to me, the support from EU is necessary. If we have aim till 2050, then support should be there until 2050.
Andrea, do you want to?
It's an additional confirmation of the matter that we need time. I mean, for sure,
Yeah,
time is needed, but also, I mean, long-term vision, which has an impact then on budgets. I fully agree on the matter that on the one hand, we need to make pressure on the European Union and on the member states, because the groups of opinion that can have an influence on the national government in putting forward in the political agenda of the European Union the needs of territories from the point of view of land use, water management, and so on, which is very local. And I mean, to lobby for that, in order to have also the promises at political level being translated into budgets.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, thanks. And I was like thinking is that do we need like a different type of the living labs also in this government and policy level? So sometimes I feel also that there should be like a sandbox to test those like governmental things also, and then through the this whole value chains to until those concrete living labs in the territory. So to test, okay, what does this really mean, and so working through this whole chain. But I think time is up. So is there any questions?
Does this labs storing any data? Well, storing any type of soil data, updated soil data, because that data are very old. What are the soil types?
So for example, in our this wall living lab, it's just the data and on all the methods is just our one tool, and it's our kind of like it's like our business card for this international transnational access. We need to have the data somehow, background data and ongoing measurements, so that it's kind of like, and our organization, for example, wants to have these data publications. So we have the actual publications, but then we are going forward for these data publications. And then, for example, in these benchmarks, for example, when there are these huge samplings in 29 sites in Europe, then they have this organized system how they are storing and combining, and then finally most likely publishing those.
Yeah.
But it's difficult because all these kind of data things, how open it is and how you use it and where you place it, and so those takes time.
Yeah, and the trust is also quite a big issue there. And I know that the farmers, they might not that be willing to share fertilizer information, for example, or they think about that there can be some consequences to them if there are quite high nutrient concentrations just in downstream of the farm. So I think the trust.
And in this farmer cooperation, it's more about the trust that they tell us that it might not go as the policymakers, for example, assume, but it's not our job to kind of be a police and say that in this farm they do this and this farm they do that. It's more that then we have the information for ministries, for example, that it doesn't go like you plan, but not like that we give the exact number and exact farm that there are the criminals. So that's kind of the idea in living.
To the last slides.
Yeah.
About the funding opportunities.
So it starts from here.
Exactly.
Yes.
So now we're gonna have, a quick outlook of the funding opportunities within solid startup, solid mission, sorry. And also something else, which I took the liberty to add because it might be interesting from the point of view.
The pointer is on the
If you-
table.
It is about the regeneration brown, previously industrial or commercial areas, now in decline, which are quite a bit across Europe because sites, I mean, scattered in the city and around the cities. And I mean, this will be done through living labs that can co-develop and test another-based solutions for the remediation of soil. As I said, I mean, this is, I mean, it's a big challenge across Europe. I mean, these sites that are in decline. So most probably only one project will be funded, and the deadline, I said, I mean, is 30 September.
Right now.
Okay. Then, I mean, the other one, I mean, it's really close, but it's 4th September, the deadline. And this is, I mean, living lab for soil health in continental Boreal. Euro in terms of total budget, more than one project will be funded. I don't know, you might check, I mean, with the Soil Mission website, if there's the opportunity, I mean, to join existing consortia. But this is, it's about, I mean, also here, I mean, these particular areas facing soil-related challenges. So it's, you know, I mean, to promote specific territory-oriented solutions. This is a bit of more details a bit about, I mean, the first one, living labs for soil remediation in brownfields development. So you see, I mean, what kind of contribution the proposal I expected to provide. Innovation through water and living labs. While I mean, I show this opportunity because the partnership with side all the details, and it will be on water and health. But water and health, if you look at the research, at the strategic research innovation agenda, Water for All includes in the health chapter not only water, but whatever it is in and around water. So this is another, yeah, this is another opportunity, particularly for living labs, because they are not large projects of lasting for 20 years and with 100 billion euro, but it is a really very much specific. To close these events. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Nargis, and thank you, Anna-Kaisa, for having the panel discussion. And I'm really grateful for all of you who came here and everyone who was online. And I truly apologize that we had these problems with the sound. That was unfortunate that we were not able to solve the issue. I hope that it wasn't bothering the listening too much. But we have had really nice discussion here. And now here we will have a lunch. And then after that we will go to visit Lukeruukki in person to see the things what we are doing there. And yeah, I want to thank you all who participated today. And if you ever want to visit to Finland and Ruukki, then contact me, please. And I want to say have a nice day and thank you.